Hello and welcome to True News JA. The St. Catharines South Police have arrested a man who they say has been at large for 22 years. He is 47-year-old Anthony Reed, otherwise called Christopher Reed, and Christopher Barrett of Marley Acres, Old Harbour in the parish. Reed was charged on Thursday for the murder of 26-year-old Dinsdale Heslop, otherwise called Prince of Amberalley Close, Portsmouth in Portmore. Prince was stabbed and killed at a bar in Northern Parade in Portsmouth on Thursday, December 20, 2001 around 10:30 p.m. Reed allegedly later fled the island to the United States, U.S. But, on Thursday, December 21, he was deported after serving time in prison in the U.S. Upon being returned to the island, he was taken into custody, interviewed and charged for the decades-old crime. Crime Officer for the St. Catharines South Division, Deputy Superintendent of Police Jermaine Englund has vowed to go after criminals who have been eluding investigators for years. Meanwhile, Commanding Officer for the Division, Senior Superintendent of Police Christopher Phillips, had high praises for the diligence and professionalism of the investigators throughout the period. A 14-year-old girl has been admitted to the hospital in serious condition after she was attacked and beaten by a group of females in the parish of Clarendon over the weekend. Reports are that several of the females were adults. There are also claims that one of the alleged attackers is a senior citizen. The police have reportedly taken 2 of the women in custody and are searching for the others. A video of the incident has been circulating on social media and shows the group seemingly cornering and then beating the teen to an unconscious state. Several of the females, including a woman who appeared to be in her 60s, were also seen kicking the child while she was on the ground. The attack took place while other members of the community stood and watched and used their phones to record the incident.
A friend, and when she went, she was sitting on the wall and she was attacked by 4 adults, saying that one of the lady hold her and said, "Who's your mother?" And she said, "Tan," and said, "You know, long me want hold your mother." And she held my daughter and she spit in her face.
The girl later ran from her attackers.
A little boy ran her down. He was on a bicycle. He ran her down and hold her and bring her back to the lady in the grey. And the lady held her, and the other girl came with a spatula and beat my daughter. This girl was unconscious when I went in. Then she kind of woke up. She didn't know who I was. Then she went out for a minute and then she came back in. She said, "Mommy, help me, please don't let me die."
The Trelawney police have given Sylvia Montague Brown until noon on Tuesday to turn herself in as they continue investigations into her husband's death. Her brother, 60-year-old Gardner Lester Judge Montague, was, on Monday, charged with murder in connection with the killing. "We have moved her from a person of interest to a suspect. We expect her to bring herself into the police," Commander of the Trelawney Police Division, Deputy Superintendent of Police, DSP, Winston Milton told the news on Monday. Montague Brown has not been seen since residents discovered the lifeless, bludgeoned, blood-drenched body of 59-year-old fisherman David Brown in bushes close to their matrimonial home on Saturday morning. The body, which had multiple wounds, was wrapped in a white bed sheet. It was discovered on a sheet of zinc close to the couple's house. DSP Milton said the Browns were engaged in a domestic dispute on Friday night. Threats were allegedly made during the fracas and Montague Brown reported the incident to the police. Cops visited the couple's home in an effort to quell the disturbance. However, sometime after 7 o'clock Saturday morning the police were again contacted by residents who reportedly heard a commotion coming from the couple's house. Neighbors said the Browns frequently fought. Police say they rescued a man who was abducted in St. Catharines on Thursday. 2 people were arrested and a firearm seized during the rescue operation in Taws Pen, Spanish Town in the parish, the police said. Reports are that the operation began about 10 p.m. after a report was received that a man had been kidnapped and a ransom was being demanded. During the course of the operation, the police reportedly encountered armed resistance which resulted in one of the suspects being fatally shot.
Remember how much we get. You can't tell the police man number. Every time we come, we get
An abducted victim speaking out after a near-death ordeal. He says he was beaten by more than a dozen men in Meadows, Spanish Town, St. Catherine. But that's not where the story started. He was out running errands all day with his sister-in-law. He hadn't eaten and had a headache.
I tell her I'm not feel good from morning. So she won't eat nothing on the road. She said she'll buy a pill and we'll go to KFC. We'll buy something so she'll go to the pharmacy. So we're going to the pharmacy now. I look the pill. She go first, then me go after. Because I say I go look at die out the ear. When me say some woman go, he said to the security, say, how much did the die? No, where the die is? And she said, ask the lady. I'm ask the lady. And the lady said, $1,000.
He says the dye was too expensive, so he decided to leave it. After leaving the pharmacy, he says he was approached by the 3 security guards who accused him of stealing something.
Hold on, Pam, search me. Me not have nothing. So when they search me, don't say them I run back the camera, go see. So I say run back the camera, because I know me don't know, so I not have to run.
He says they took him back inside to a storeroom, and that's when things took a turn.
So I start beating me out of one last, beating me out of last, beating me out of you, lick me from under the one big pipe, an iron pipe, lick me, and then...
See you when I get the lick for him.
No, because I black them on, you can see some hands swelled up. I black them on my face, because my face don't want to cough, you know. So say time the youth did the outside and they didn't know when I start thump me up in my face, thump me on my head, thump me up behind my ears.
Instead of calling the police, he says the guards called thugs. Several men came and forced him into a car.
Me and them out there, but war. Because I put me in a car, I said, I'm not going in a car, I'm not going in a car. So the blown reach out on the tattoo on his chest. Shoot me in a car, the security go up on one side and the next stop man go up on one side. You see it? And the blown new drive. When they drive, they jam up going to the community now. The blown new car, film friend them.
Which community? You know which community it was?
Tire spin.
His sister-in-law observed from a distance.
But when we look and say, oh, them a drive, me take to myself, because me use a Spanish term and eyes. So when me ask, and me end up cause alert, you know.
While she was seeking help from the police, more than a dozen other men in Meadows took turns beating him.
And bring me around look up bridge now. Then I tell myself, sit down on the ground. Then I sit down on the ground and start to be a panic board and start at me.
What am I looking with?
Panic board. Be a panic board. Be a panic board, then the youth. You can say, him come with the light and say so. And he not face. So,
Here's the scar on his forehead from the light. His mouth and other parts of his head were swollen. We've chosen not to show them to protect his identity. The man he's referring to, who had the lighter, is 35-year-old Donald Brown, the bar owner who would die in a reported shootout later that night with police. Residents had protested the shooting.
The youth who let me on face with the lighter now, he say, go for picker. Go for picker and go for a shovel. Because I have to kill a youth on the night, bury him.
He says they questioned him whether he had anyone who would be willing to pay $100,000 to save him. He contacted a relative, but one of the persons they were speaking with on the phone was a policeman.
Them a talk to my fiancé and I know so the police they can influence me while them a drive and think my fiancé them a talk the person in the class, the person know exactly who them a go to.
They instructed the person to drop off the money at the bar owned by now deceased Donald Brown. The intention, however, was never to release him.
I said, go in at the bar, man. And the brown just say, yo, anytime you give me money, just shoot him and kill him and throw him off into the water.
So their intention was to
kill me. See me, collect the money and still kill me.
One of the abductors realized the men who came were police and yelled out with an expletive, "Police!"
So I saw me find some police and shoot off the youth in the water and the gun behind me. I run off because they never really hold on for me.
And when you run off, what happened after that?
They run off, they say, boom, boom, and most I shut off one for the police, then down there, because the police are trying to light up there.
He said he ran as fast as he could toward the police while shots were blazing around him. 2 persons, including a 17-year-old, were captured while the bar owner, who he says fired at the police, was killed.